Welcome to the Get Fit Guys quick and dirty tips to get moving and shape up. My name is Brock Armstrong and I am the Get Fit Guy. Although EMS or electrical muscle stimulation devices will not allow you to sit on the couch eating bonbons while you develop biceps like an Avenger, well, they can help with warm-up, recovery, relaxation, strength, and yes, even burning some fat. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So electrical muscle stimulation, that's also known as neuromuscular electrical stimulation or electromyostimulation, well, it's a protocol that elicits a muscle contraction using electrical impulses that directly stimulate your motor neurons. An EMS device like the PowerDot that I use, the Compex, the Tonomatic, or even the Mark Pro is a device that delivers this right in the comfort of your own home. And this stimulation creates muscle contractions that can be quick or frequent, fast with long pauses, or contractions that are held for several rather uncomfortable seconds or even minutes at a time. Now, normally, it's your body that fires your muscles by sending electrical impulses from your brain through your central nervous system. But an EMS device allows you to engage those deep, intense, and complete muscular contractions without actually activating or stressing your central nervous system, not to mention your joints and your tendons. The coolest thing is that your body, well, it doesn't even know the difference between a voluntary contraction and an electrically stimulated one. Your silly body only recognizes that there is a stimulus and then it reacts to it accordingly. Now, okay, if this sounds a little wacky to you, well, don't worry. There is science to back this up. And in a study that was published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning that looked into whether or not EMS could help elite athletes gain a performance edge, well, they concluded that, and I quote, "The analysis shows that trained and elite athletes, despite their already high level of fitness, are able to significantly enhance their level of strength to the same extent as is possible with untrained subjects." And at the conclusion of the study, the researchers stated that EMS offers a promising alternative to traditional strength training for enhancing strength parameters and motor abilities in athletes. And there's another study from 2015 that was titled Effects on High-Frequency Current Therapy on Abdominal Obesity in Young Women, a randomized controlled trial. And this study provides a different example of the effectiveness of EMS. Instead of looking at levels of fitness, this study looked into whether EMS could help you lose body fat. In this study, a group of subjects received 30 minutes of high-frequency current therapy via a series of electrodes placed on their stomachs. The subjects did these sessions 3 times per week for 6 weeks. After those 6 weeks, the researchers measured the subjects' waist circumference, body mass index, subcutaneous fat mass, which is the fat that's just under the skin, and total body fat percentage. And surprisingly, without modifying their exercise or their diet, the EMS did indeed cause significant effects on decreasing waist circumference, abdominal obesity, subcutaneous fat mass, and body fat percentage, leading the researchers to conclude the use of high-frequency current therapy may be beneficial for reducing the levels of abdominal obesity in young women. And there are other studies that have shown EMS to be helpful for everything from pain management to helping increase muscle blood flow for warming up prior to performance or related activities. So let's talk a little more about what EMS is. During a normal exercise session, your brain sends signals to your muscles to make them voluntarily contract. With electrical muscle stimulation, it's the electrical impulses that are sent from the device that causes your muscles to involuntarily contract. Now, these contractions can be quick, long, fluttery, uncomfortably long, and everything in between. And it's the contraction type that determines whether the session will result in a better warm-up, or increase your strength, or increase your recovery. But right now, before we move on, I want to clear one thing up, and that is that a TENS or a TENS unit is often mistaken for an EMS unit. But don't be fooled, they are not the same. TENS is actually short for transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. And that, as you probably guessed from the name, is a measure of nerve stimulation, not muscle stimulation. And although TENS may seem like an inexpensive alternative to EMS, well, it's really more of a short-term solution, kind of like a painkiller or a Band-Aid. Okay, got it? All right, let's talk about how EMS actually works. Okay, back to how EMS works. When you want to perform an EMS session, there are sticky, rubbery pads that are placed on your skin at each end of the skeletal muscle band that you want to stimulate. And there are 3 or maybe 4 channels, depending on the unit that you own, with lead wires to each pad. Now, when the session or the EMS program starts, very small amounts of electrical current run from one pad to the next and complete a circuit using your muscle tissue as the conduit. The motor neurons that are found within this circuit are stimulated and they contract. Freaky, right? The current runs at specific frequencies or hertz and pulse durations measured in microseconds depending on the program that you chose. EMS works directly on the muscles, and that means that it bypasses the body's own energy conservation system. So there's no limit to the percentage of fiber that can be activated. Varying the frequencies can change which types of muscle fibers are stimulated. 3 ranges of frequencies stimulate 3 kinds of motor neuron muscle fiber types, also known as the slow, the medium, and the fast twitch fibers. Now, I use a device called the Power Dot, and at first I simply used it for massage and for recovery. But lately, I've been using it to perform strength and explosive strength training electrical sessions while I catch up on the latest binge-worthy content. And I have to say that despite my early skepticism, I feel like I have really been able to poop myself out with these sessions, and once again, science is on my side. A French study used an EMS device called a Compex to investigate the effect of a 5-week electromuscle stimulation training program on muscular strength of the quadriceps, kicking velocity, sprint, and vertical jump performance in football players. In all, they took 20 male soccer players and randomly divided them into 2 training groups. One was the EMS group, which received EMS on the quadricep muscles during 5 weeks for 3 sessions of 12 minutes per week, and their regular soccer training. And the second group was the control group, which really just had its regular soccer training. The athletes were tested after 3 weeks and then again after 5 weeks of training, and at both assessments, the EMS group showed significant improvements in quadricep muscle strength parameters as well as in ball speed performance. And these improvements were not seen in the control group. So, while an EMS device isn't going to burn a ton of calories or give you an amazing six-pack while you sit on the couch, it can indeed result in a significant boost in cardiovascular and musculoskeletal fitness. Now, depending on the type of device that you own, an EMS can be used for all kinds of things: warm-up, potentiation, strength, resistance, endurance, recovery, and of course, massage. Let's look at each one of those individually. An EMS device can help you with a warm-up by increasing blood flow, which raises the temperature of the muscles and allows them to work more efficiently and effectively. Using an EMS for potentiation, well, that's the same way that performing some weight squats immediately before performing a vertical leap test can result in higher jumping. Using an EMS for 5 to 10 minutes before a heavy session can help prepare the muscles. And if you use an EMS device for strength, well, this EMS program actually stimulates the fast twitch type 2B muscle fibers and its creatine phosphate energy delivery system. This trains the muscle fibers to deliver energy anaerobically and generate a great deal more force during efforts that last up to 1 minute. If you use your EMS device for resistance, well, this program trains the type 2A fast twitch muscle fibers, which can deliver energy both anaerobically and aerobically. If you use it for endurance, well, this program stimulates the type 1 slow twitch muscle fibers, which are most used in efforts that are lasting several minutes or even several hours. And if you use an EMS device for recovery, well, this is my personal favorite. This use features rapid contractions, which squeeze the blood out of the capillary beds and make room for fresh blood to supply the muscles with delicious oxygen and nutrients your muscles need to recover fully. And finally, if you use it for massage, well, this one is probably the most popular program at all. This program is dedicated to endorphin production. The varying pulses and flutters increase blood flow and circulation to decrease soreness, stiffness, and aches. Okay, before I wrap up, I want to give you 3 ways that you can use your EMS in your own fitness program. And the first one is exercise plus EMS. Now, while most EMS devices discourage you from actually using them during a workout, you can certainly use it before and after. This can be used as a warm-up or a cool-down or as part of the workout itself. For instance, you could position the EMS on your pectorals and set it to a lower setting like a massage or recovery program before you hit the weights. Then do your regular chest workout immediately followed by a strength program on the EMS. And because the EMS works directly on the muscle fibers, bypassing your body's natural energy conservation system, this would be a great way to finish off any workout. And the second way to use an EMS in your workout program is to do isometrics plus EMS. Combining EMS and isometrics, which is holding a muscle in a static pose, this can be an effective way to increase the amount of lactate that builds up in the muscle. And likely due to the fact that it is extremely uncomfortable, this can also help you improve your ability to tolerate lactate buildup during your hard workouts or intense competitions. To use your EMS this way, begin by getting into your isometric position and then apply the EMS. And you could do it with an isometric wall sit with an EMS on your quads, or you could combine the EMS with some lunge holds, some push-up holds, or some planks. And the third way you can use an EMS in your workout program is to use your EMS plus rest. Now, perhaps you have an injury, or maybe you're streaming some great new series about mid-century zombie architects, but you still want to get some of your workout done. Well, most of the time, I would advise you to simply get the heck up and get your body moving. Do some stretches in front of the TV, or turn it off and get outside and move around. But you just bought yourself a fancy new EMS device, so I'm going to cut you some slack. In a sedentary position, you can use EMS to keep your muscles activated without even lifting a finger. Well, okay, you do need to turn the device on and all that, but you know what I mean. In addition to working your muscles while you're recovering from an injury or watching that Art Deco zombie show, you can use an EMS device during long car rides, while you're doing your homework, or even to stimulate your leg muscles while you're working at your standing workstation. Now, before I wrap up, here are some EMS quick and dirty tips. Train a particular muscle group 3 times per week. If you train a muscle group only once a week, you will detrain between sessions. Twice a week is okay, but 3 is ideal. Wait at least 48 hours between training sessions. Again, training 3 times per week will leave 48 hours between 2 of the sessions and 72 hours before the remaining session. Remember, even though you aren't doing the work, the EMS strength program does deliver a training load, so recovery is important. And finally, stimulate the muscle groups that will benefit you the most. To be efficient with your time, prioritize the muscle groups that are what we call your prime movers for your sport or your preferred activity. Now, after all this, if you're still skeptical, remember that this kind of muscular stimulation has been used in physiotherapy clinics and sport doc labs for years, and EMS training is quite safe for the majority of people and for the majority of uses. Now, having said that, it's always smart, before you try anything new on your body, to check in with your doctor first. Now, Get Fit Guy is written, narrated, and produced by me, Brock Armstrong, with heavy lifting and editorial support from Joe Muscolino. Now, if you enjoy this podcast, please consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to this podcast, and you can join in the conversation at facebook.com/getfitguy, twitter.com/getfitguy, or look for me at brockarmstrong.com. So, what are you waiting for? Go stimulate those muscles.